There are many accidents while contacting with overhead power lines. Working with or near power lines can expose workers to electrical hazards, but these dangers can be avoided through safe work practices. These practical steps can prevent injuries from contact with power lines. Do you know contact with overhead power lines is extremely dangerous and it occurs too often? Some are very lucky and escape without injuries, extremely dangerous. But when luck has run out, the consequences are frightening, dreadful. Here, the question is what you need to do when working on or near overhead electrical power lines. Dear friends and fellows, plan and manage work near electric overhead power lines so that risks from accidental contact or close proximity to the lines are adequately controlled. Safety precautions will depend on the nature of the work and will be essential even when work near the line is of short duration. Safety can be achieved by a combination of measures. What are these measures? There are four steps. Number one, planning and preparation. Number two, eliminating the danger. Number three, controlling the access. And number four, controlling the work. You are on the platform of safety first life. If you are first time on this channel, kindly subscribe it and press the bell icon for all future notifications. And if you find the video informative, then like, comment and share it with your friends and colleagues. We are talking about electrical safety. This is part 3, how to work safely near overhead electrical power lines. There are few important points you need to memorize and consider throughout the duration when working near overhead electrical power lines. Point number 1, do a risk assessment for the work you are planning and make sure this covers electrical hazards. Number 2, learn how to recognize electrical wires. These may be overhead power lines, electrical wiring in a workplace, or cables buried under the ground. Point number 3, get an up to date map of the services in the area and use it. From where you can get it? From the service provider, utility owners. Number 4, look for electrical wires, cables, or equipment near where you are going to work and check for signs warning of dangers from electricity or any other hazard. Remember to look up, down, and around you. Point number 5, if you will be digging or disturbing the earth or cutting into surfaces, use a cable locator, cable detector to find buried services and permanently mark the position of services you do find. Point number 6, work away from electrical wiring whenever possible. If you have a work near electrical wiring or equipment, ask for the electrical supply to be turned off. Make sure the power is off and cannot be turned on again without you agreeing. Point number 7, if the electrical supply cannot be turned off, consult a competent person who should be able to advise you on the best way to proceed. Point number 8, identify where it is safe to work. Put up danger notices where there are still live electrical circuits, panels, or distribution boards, and warn your co-workers where it is safe to work and where it is not safe. Remember to remove notices at the end of the work. Point number 9, conduct a hazard assessment to identify and address potential safety hazards before work begins. Point number 10, ask the electric company to de energize and ground overhead power lines. Point number 11, educate workers on safety procedures and electrical safety requirements. Point number 12, know the safe working distance for workers and equipment from overhead power lines and the power lines buried underground. Point number 13, use non conductive wood or fiberglass ladders if required. And point number 14, Wear personal protective equipment such as rubber insulating gloves and insulating sleeves and industrial protective helmets. Dear friends and fellows, these 14 points you can consider as electrical safety rules you have to follow while you are working near overhead or underground buried electrical services. Overhead power line voltages range from lines 230 volts up to 400,000 volts, can be bare wire, fully insulated, or partially 33,000 volts insulated. So these are in different shapes and forms. But you need to understand the dangers, hazards, and the risks that may arise from overhead electrical power lines. Let us discuss now the effect of electric shock. Dear friends and fellows, electric shock is the effect of current flowing through the body. It causes muscle contractions, tissue damage, and internal burning. It can cause cardiac arrest and respiratory failure. Electricity can jump or flash over. You don't need to touch electrical conductors to draw current. And remember, in this case, rubber boots or gloves will not protect you from electrocution. In the case of flash over, when electricity is jumping over, as an employer, you have a duty to ensure the safety of your own employees and subcontractor. And you know, this is a legal requirement. You also have to ensure the safety of general public from the activities you are undertaking. This is also a legal requirement. Distribution network operators, service providers, other utility owners have a duty to ensure public safety from its networks and take measures to provide safety advice to those that need it. It may be a contractor or a subcontractor who is working over or near overhead or buried electrical power lines. And if you need more information, you can go through the legislation Health and Safety at Work Act 1974, Electricity at Work Regulations 1989, Management of Health and Safety at Work Regulations 1999, or Electricity Safety, Quality and Continuity Regulations 2002. These all are the regulatory frameworks, regulations applicable to maintain electrical safety at work, either in the case of overhead power lines or the services buried underground. After discussing the legal prospectus of electrical safety, let us understand financial angle. Everyone knows the cost of an accident or incident can be frightening, and that may include loss of earnings, legal costs and fines, maybe in millions of dollars, replacement of equipment compensation, costs of accident or incident investigations, and above all, the reputational damage in the eyes of public, government, and the clients. Until now, you are able to understand that electrical safety has implications legally and financially. Here, the most important question: how to avoid electrical dangers, either overhead or underground. You need to consider few very important points. Point number one: look out and look up. Plan ahead. Take extra care in poor light conditions. Point number two: plan ahead where possible. Set up your plant with care to reduce the chances of contact with overhead power lines or the cables buried underground. Number three, train machinery and plant operatives appropriately in how to avoid danger and how to act in an electrical emergency situation. Point number four, find out and record the maximum height and vertical reach of your vehicles. Point number five, always remember and respect that electricity can jump through the gaps. Point number six, respect all overhead and underground cables and treat them as live. Point number seven, you need to contact your electricity company for site specific advice on appropriate exclusion zones and safe standoff distances to apply. These will vary according to the voltage of the overhead line and its construction and possibility of temporarily making the line dead for duration of work. You can avoid electrical danger. you can avoid electrical incidents and accidents if you will follow these important points. The last point, what to do in an emergency if you are going to hit a buried underground cable or you are going to strike overhead electrical power line. Dear friends and fellows, if you strike an overhead line, you should consider these important points. Number one, drive well clear, if safe to do so, and call the service provider, utility owner, electrical company staff. Number two, if not safe to drive clear, stay in the cabin. Call emergency services and warn others to stay away. Number three, if not safe to stay in the cabin, jump well clear if you need to get out. Point number four, make no contact between you, the vehicle, and the ground at the same time. Crucial and very important point. If you will contact any two, you will be electrocuted. Maybe you will be no more. Number five, keep away and don't return to the vehicle until the emergency service providers arrive or it is safe to do so. 5 points, but life saving points. Let us discuss now some emergency warning tips. What to do if you are in an electrical emergency situation. Tip number one, never been tried to disentangle equipment until the owner of the line has confirmed that it has been de-energized and made safe. Number two, contact with overhead power line may cause the power to trip out temporarily and it may be re-energized automatically without warning. And number three, it's important to remember that the vehicle may also become live if still in contact with an overhead power line or a machine is still in contact with a buried power line. In all cases, in all situations, you need to be mentally alert. If you are trained, if you know how to diffuse the emergency situations, you can save yourself and even you can save the lives of your co-workers. So, as a safety practitioner, as a site supervisor, it is the responsibility of supervisory staff to educate their workers how to work safely near overhead power lines or near the buried underground electrical cables or services. Electrical safety part 3 is over. If you have any question, please ask in the comment section. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like, comment and share the video. Hope to see you soon with a new HSC tutorial. Until then, take care, good luck and goodbye.